Save our Druze brothers. Is my brother a Druze? Well, I don't know what a Druze is, so maybe. The Druze genocide on right now. The Druze community in Syria faces severe violence, with the video footage that I have seen appear to be a genocidal campaign by the Syrian government. What the Druze? The Druze are an Arabic speaking ethno religious group primarily residing in Syria, Lebanon, and Israel. Most of Europe don't know what an ethno religion is. We're beginning to learn about it. Their monotheistic faith is an offshoot of Shia Islam from the 11th century. Incorporates unique beliefs like reincarnation and prohibits conversion or intermarriage. Approximately 700,000 Druze live in Syria. About 3% of the population concentrated in Suwede province and northern Damascus suburbs. In Israel, around 150,000 Druze are generally loyal to the state, often serving in the military. But what's happening in Syria? Since the fall of Bashar al-Assad in December 2024, sectarian violence has surged in Syria. Yeah, it has, with the Druze facing a genocidal campaign by the Islamist-led government under interim president Ahmed al-Sharaa. Attacks in Suweda sparked on July 13th, 2025 by the abduction of a Druze merchant, which led to widespread violence, killing over 350, some reporting up to 900 people. Reports document Syrian government forces and allied militias committing summary executions, looting homes, humiliating Druze men by forcefully shaving their moustaches with their cultural insults, as well as gruesome beheadings. And I have seen footage of myself of Syrian soldiers holding heads. And yes, they're slaughtering Christians as well. So what's Israel's response? Well, Israel has positioned itself as defender of the Druze, citing cultural ties with its own Druze community. On the 15th and 16th of July 2005, Israeli airstrikes targeted Syrian government forces, military sites, and defense ministry in Damascus, aiming to halt attacks on the Druze to force a demilitarized zone in southern Syria. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu stated these actions were to save our Druze brothers and from an extremist Islamic regime. Please look at the footage of Syrian news reporters getting surprise bombings in the background. I shouldn't laugh at it, but I mean, if there's a genocide against the Druze, someone has to bomb something. In April, following appeals from Israeli Druze leader Sheikh Mowaffaq Tarif, Israel conducted airstrikes near Damascus to counter the threats to the Druze. Israel has also provided medical aid to injured Syrian Druze, reports of families receiving treatment in Israeli hospitals after being denied healthcare in Syria. Sheikh Kamat al-Hijri, a prominent Druze leader, has condemned this as a genocidal campaign, citing systematic targeting of Druze civilians. Earlier in April 2025, violence in Jarana and Ashrafiyat Sananya killed at least 101 Druze, with the Syrian Observation of Human Rights reporting 86 field executions by government forces. Social media and local reports extreme atrocities, including the massacre of 250 Druze and kidnapping and rape of young girls. I followed a lot of Syrian people on social media, and they've ever since the new government came in, I'm just seeing mass reports of genocide against Druze, Alawites, and Christians, and the media doesn't report on this, except for me. What is the world's response? Well, international response to criticizes inadequate by some Druze advocates. The United States condemned the violence and facilitated a ceasefire in July. So hopefully we'll have a ceasefire between Syria, Israel. It's also supported by Turkey and Jordan. So the ceasefire talks going on at the moment. Let's hope that they are successful. But isn't it a bit strange that whenever there's a genocide against, let's say, Jews, Druze, Alawites, Kurds, or Christians, that's not reported in the Irish media at all. Nobody talks about it. Like about 5,000 Christians in Nigeria get murdered for being Christian, mostly by Boko Haram and other militants, and that's also not mentioned. Well, I'm going to be mentioning this whenever I can. I have lots of content that I have covered. I have lots of content to edit, but I'm telling you, we start in the West. We started feeling trickles of jihad at the start of the millennium, and it was very infrequent. And while wars around the world are going down, this kind of soft terrorism, like I mean, I don't downplay any deaths where people have died, but let's say the terror attacks would just be 100 or 200. But it's been building up and building up and building up and building up. And in Ireland, we never had any jihadist related crimes before until 2 years ago. And you can check Europol, because I've spoken with Europol, and it was me who gave them the idea to caution the Irish government about oncoming jihad. Or the jihad has already began. Jihadi crimes in Ireland, which we never had before, went from 2 to 4 to 9. It means it's doubling every year. And we don't really know what sparked it, but I mean, ever since our Irish politicians brought in thousands of random people all around the world with no passports, gave them free housing. And then our own politicians started calling for an intifada, which just means shake off the Jews. And then since then, we started getting mass stabbings and machete attacks, which were not crimes we were used to growing up. And none of this is being reported. There is a global jihad across the world, ongoing genocide against Christians in Nigeria and across the Middle East. The 7th of October attacks in 2023 against Israel, that was the largest genocide against Jews in the 21st century. And now the Druze. Hashtag, we are thousands, we are millions, we are all Druze. Come on. Where's the Druze in the Irish media? Is there anyone in the Irish media covering the Druze? What's a Druze? What's a genocide? You know? What's a genocide? It's the intent to slaughter and wipe out ethnic groups, which is what an intifada means. Jihad can have many differences, different meanings, but from the Second Caliphate onwards, it means spreading Islam through conquest, and it's all supported by every single political party in Ireland for some reason. The EU is sometimes against it, mostly for it. It's not covered in the media. And, you know, and if anyone wants to accuse me of being racist, because I do have 3 Irish flags, that must mean I'm a triple racist. Any Islamic group in Ireland, are you calling for peace? Are you organizing for peace? Are you calling out jihad? Are you doing anything about the mass stabbings that we've been experiencing over the past 2 years? Are you? Anybody supporting Palestine is supporting the Intifada, which means shake off the Jews. And who are they? Like, how are they going to shake off the Jews? Right? They don't know where they are and know what they look like. They're going to shake us all off. Intifada is just is just a Jew focused version of jihad. It's global jihad, it is conquest, and we have to talk about it openly. Like when you see your politicians, go up to them and say, "Hey, what are you doing about the jihad?" Like you don't, you like even if you started with the biased government funded media, you will read about the mass stabbings on Pear Street, that where some random Arab guy came here illegally, lived for free for 20 years, stabbed a bunch of Irish children. Now, was he a radical Muslim? I don't know. They didn't investigate him. You know, that is a tad bit suspicious. And the Garda trade union is awfully chummy with people who fly these squiggly flags with squiggly writing machine guns. Like I speak a little bit of Arabic. It's not good. They are literally walking through the streets of Dublin, chanting "Bomb Tel Aviv," "Kabar, Kabar, Yehudi, Yehudi." People making TikTok videos talking about how they're going to cut off all our heads. And Talbot Street, every time you walk down Talbot Street, like the Minister of Justice had to go down Talbot Street with like armed Garda, and the rest of us have to learn stick fighting and use our belts as weapons. Yes, it's what people do. If you live on the north side of Dublin, you have to wear a belt. So if someone comes at you with a machete, you take your belt off and you whack them down. So this is why we should care about the genocide of the Druze, because you know, they got the attack in Israel, the Druze. Greece is next. I'm calling it now. Write this down. Don Rochta is warning that there's going to be some kind of a massive jihad or even an attempt to invade Greece. I'm not going to say by which country, but let's just say it's going to be coming from the maritime route. Okay, let's put it like that. The Houthis are still bombing Israel. They're still attacking the ships that deliver us our food. And it's our government policy to support the Intifada, destroying a part of our food supply. Look at the presidential candidates in Ireland's presidential election. Every single one of them has been involved in some kind of crime, be it robbing money from the public, scamming the public, using fear intimidation tactics to buy their products. People literally connected with gangs, criminals, terror groups that have told us that they support executing Garda and journalists for some reason. They've talked about it. They go, "Oh yeah, those times when they murdered those journalists and the Garda, that's okay." That is the country we live in. Wake up. We don't know why our politicians support the Intifada, the Jihad. I just assume that they're A, absolutely batshit crazy. Two, corrupt. They're making money from this. If they own large farms and there's a problem with their food supply, they're going to get a greater yield. The more of there is a housing crisis and chaos around building and owning property, their property values will go up. Like if you look around the world, look around Ireland right now. What have they spent billions and billions of euros to do every year to build these iPad centres? So they give them cheap labour, living in squish boxes, filling it up with ideological nonsense about how the white man, Christians, and Jews are somehow the evil of the world. That is what they say to us. That is what they believe. We get shouted like if you're flying. We were told that the Irish flag is racist, and people shout at us. They call us Zionists and West Brits. It's like the hell. Ireland's my country. Like I can do the hell I want. genocide against Druze. There's a genocide against Jews. There's a genocide against Christians. There's a of Irish people. Shocking. Absolute shock. But now you know there is no excuse to know nothing about this. What do we need to do? We need to globalize the crusade. I have a bit of crack looking up the Second Crusades and the Kingdom of Jerusalem just for a wee bit of inspiration. I'm not going to now. But we need to unite all the monotheists who believe in law and order and property rights and democracy, Christians, Jews, Druze, whatever. I'm sure Buddhists is like that idea too. But from an Irish context, it's Catholics, Protestants, and Jews. We unite together. We organize democratically, locally, with the idea that all Irish people are equal. We all get to have a say, and we pull our resources away from funding random foreign nonsense and the government funded propaganda machines and all the grants that property owners get for nonsense, and we put it in to develop our military, our police, building houses for the Irish, hospitals, trains, and basic infrastructure. And you know what? Having a nuclear power plant would be awesome. So I've given you the news, and I followed it up with rants, not realizing that the image I was looking at right there is not the live stream. Okay, cool. Uh, anyway, that's the news with the Druze. I don't see any questions. Deus Vault, globalized, the crusade.